Hello everyone. Welcome to our TV program, Music Matters. I want to tell you about a walk that I took a while ago near High Plain Elementary School. I heard a beautiful sound and I ran around until I found the source of the sound, and it was Jack Shattuck playing the bagpipes. And he's here today to tell us all about bagpipes.
The little that I know.
I think you know a lot.
It's very humbling. It's a constant learning, like a lot of things.
Yeah, like everything, I guess.
Yeah.
But from my understanding, correct me if I'm wrong, it's the second musical instrument ever invented by mankind, the first being percussion, drums, and then came along this. And the bagpipes are mentioned in writings from 1000 BC, and there's a mention of bagpipes in the Bible, in Genesis, and they were played in ancient Egypt.
Right, Egypt, yeah.
And the Romans had the Latin name for the pipes, which was tibia urticarius. And then the French called them musette, and Bach wrote a piece of music, which I thought musette was a girl's name when I played it, but when I was listening to it, I thought, this sounds like the bagpipes. And it is, it's the French bagpipes.
Very good.
And so the bagpipes are all over the world. But I have a question for you.
Yeah.
Okay, what is the difference between the Highland bagpipes in Scotland and the Lowland bagpipes?
So yeah, that's a good question. There's probably over 30 types of bagpipes that I recognize in the world today. The most popular, Great Highland bagpipes, that Scotland gets the credit for, even though they probably will, like as you mentioned earlier, go back to the Egyptian times, and the Romans probably introduced the bagpipes to the Scots way back when. But as far as the oldest pipes, I think the Uilleann pipes, which is the Irish pipes, get credit for being older than the Great Highland bagpipes, and they shorten it to just Highland bagpipes or Highland pipes.
I think there's a record of the Uilleann pipes being played in 1298.
Imagine that.
And they were
yeah.
a war instrument at the time.
Yeah, and Uilleann standing for elbow. So those are incredible. I tried to play a set, I was exhausted because it's a complete different fingering, and I just love the sound of them. Liam O'Flynn played them out of Ireland. He recently passed, I think it was March of 2019.
Yeah. And
what a relic for the world. And you can hear him on YouTube, Liam O'Flynn.
Yeah.
And like a Paddy Keane and whatnot. So yeah, it's kind of funny. Just like bagpipes are just one, sound and one type, and it's really not the case.
There are so many.
Yeah. So these originally, so not to skip around, but from the history of just the Great Highland pipes, the older music is called the classical music or the large music, and that was the pibroch, and that was played as a soloist. And back in the day, they didn't write anything down. Everything was actually talked in vocal. Cherry, cherry. They would sing pibroch to each other. Yeah. And nothing was written down for hundreds of years. So more recently, probably the last 50 years, a lot of the professional grade pipers were trying to capture this old pibroch music. Because once these old pipers passed on, it was lost forever.
Right.
So they actually created a book and they captured, not most, but some of it. And that's a complete different sound than you would hear like a 2/4 or 4/4 march, when bands are in an actual parade setting.
Yeah, because it's a drone and the sound never stops. Like
right,
a singer.
we can get into that next. I mean,
Yeah.
just in a brief history on the pipes.
Oh, yeah.
So that's right. So I can try to play these sitting down. Usually, of course, you stand up when you're playing. Should I?
Yeah, because you have to breathe. But can I ask you a question? Yeah. I'm so curious about a lot of this. Tell me if I'm right. When you have the drone and the sound doesn't stop, like a singer needs to take a breath. A pianist, we need to lift our hands.
Right.
But a bagpipe player, the sound goes on and on. So am I right that you press your arm against the bag and it keeps playing and you can take a breath?
Yeah, I could probably show you probably the best ways of talking about it.
Oh.
Yeah, but before we jump to that, so these are chanters. You never leave these. This is what they call practice chanters. What you do before you even attempt to play a tune, in most cases, at least how most of us do it, is someone gives you sheet music. So you learn the sheet music on your practice chanter. Yeah. So say it's like. So you're reading the notes and you're trying to, this is a 6/8 march, I never hold the dotted eighths long enough, so I always get in trouble for that. Just go like. So once you learn the sheet music, you can try to like flip it over, so to speak, right? And see how far you can get by memory. So once you learn it by memory, you kind of go back and forth, right? Because you got to get all the articulation. Once you have it down on a practice chanter, then you attempt it on the Highland pipes. The reason to do that is, this is more difficult. If this, you want to be like kind of know it memory-wise. You usually don't read sheet music while you're standing up playing the Highland pipes. Yeah, you learn. So you do a lot of your homework. This is the homework right here. You learn all that stuff on your practice chanter.
Yeah.
So before you even pick these up, so the scale is in B flat. It's only 9 notes on this. So you count them. You go.
Oh my.
Only 9 notes. It's like, well,
Oh.
and like you mentioned, it's constant noise, right? Once you fill up the bag through your blow stick, this is the blow stick.
Yeah.
Once you fill up the bag, it's constant noise from the drones. The drones are what sits on your shoulder, and I'll show that in a minute. The big one's the bass, and you have 2 tenors, and they're like, ah, which I'll show in a minute, ah. And then you start playing, so all the ear then goes to the chanter. That's the one that, it looks like this,
Oh,
right?
yeah.
This is the actual chanter here. Notice how the fingering's very similar. I don't know if you can get that on the camera. Then
Yeah,
the practice chanter.
Yeah.
And like you said, constant noise. So you say, well, how do you distinguish between notes if it's constant noise? So, like, you don't play like Scotland Brave, like, right? You do C doublings. You go.
Yep. Oh, like grace notes on the
Yeah, those
piano.
are grace notes. So
On the
it
piano.
emphasizes, and there's 19 C doublings in Scotland Brave.
Oh my gosh.
I'm so happy I memorized
Wow.
something. Yeah.
Good.
So yeah, so to make it sound Scottish, right? You got to play all these embellishments, they're called, and that's what makes it so interesting and so unique than any other instrument. The fact that it's constant noise, and you have to put all these embellishments in. There's the difference between your accent, the different notes.
It's like Bach with the ornamentations.
Right. That's right. Yeah. Yeah. So that's interesting within itself. Yeah, all the doublings. Like most of them are doublings. This is a doubling on C, doubling on B.
Yeah.
And then on P rock was skipping around, but the old style music, you have like say a Crenelu would be. It's like all those little notes. There's actually like 9 notes in there. It's
Yeah, I can tell.
that's just one embellishment that you play within the P rock setting. Yeah. So it takes a lot to memorize it. Of course, the trick is to try to play it slow, right? It's
Try
called
to
finger
play
memory. Get your
slow.
fingers down, and then you can speed it up a little bit. Like play it like. And then speed it up.
It's just like piano. Slow
yeah,
practice,
that's right, yeah.
fast progress. Fast
Right.
practice, no progress.
That's right. Yeah. And then
No
the judges
progress,
even. So
no
we
play.
actually in competition, you in front of judges, you actually could. I know it's just different from most music too, right? So you actually go like it's either solo bagpipe competition or there's band competition. So I'm with the Stuart Highlanders, and we competed. In fact, the last time we competed, we got first place out of 9 bands.
Oh my gosh.
We were all excited. Yeah, it was a short season because of COVID. Yeah, but yeah, you actually other solo against other pipers, and they judge you, and they put first, second, third, fourth place.
Yeah, I was reading about this. A man who's famous for being a judge, and he goes all over the place, and he's
yeah.
quite the expert.
It's great. Yeah, sometimes the guys from Scotland will come over and they'll be our instructors just to meet these people, and they're very humble. It's a great what do you call it, a support mechanism.
Yeah.
These pipers get it. I mean, it's an instrument. It's not like we're going to war. It's not like it's not life or death. And if you're that nervous, like, and I get nervous easy, you're not going to play better. You're going to play worse. So they come over
That's
and
right.
at first
Stage
you're
fright.
nervous because these guys are world pipers. World class medalists. One was Stuart Little. He comes over from Scotland, and we met him a couple of times, and just humbling to hear him play. He's just so quick. But then once you finally get comfortable, you realize he's on your side, so to speak. Once you know someone's on your side and they want to get
They
you to
want you to
improve,
do well.
yeah, then the nervousness goes away. Which, at any level, he knows how to help you. It's nice.
Suppose you played something and they said that wasn't so good. What are some of the things that could be wrong?
Well,
like-
he'll pick it. He'll pick it apart.
Like you can't say expression because there's no expression.
Want it down,
like,
yeah.
like
Yeah, no,
on-
so they'll write on the side the judges' comments on.
Yeah.
They'll just say, you know, you didn't play, so you weren't the top 6 piper, and that's it. Well, no, they'll give you reasons, and it can be painful to read it, but that's how you improve, right? I mean, in other words,
Yeah.
and believe me, I'm no different. I want a place. I want to get first place. I want to get, you know, the first 3 get the medals and whatnot. But
Wow.
even if you don't place, it's like, give yourself credit for showing up, you know, being in the competition,
Absolutely.
and listen to what the judges are telling you that you need help with.
Yeah.
Say your timing, maybe you speed it up, or you didn't have the right idiom for 6/8, like holding the dotted eighth longer.
Oh, so it could be a
Or
timing.
you're crushing the C doubling instead of hearing, you're playing them
yeah.
too tight, and they'll say that. Say, well, I
Yeah.
played the C doubling. Oh, you did, but or the burr was. Yeah, I didn't even play it. So there you go. That was crushing it. Yeah, I'm good at doing things wrong, right? Here, 1, 2, 3. Yeah, you can slow it down. That's a burl. You should hear three
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 notes.
pulses. Yeah.
3 pulses.
If you know you're nervous, you know,
Long shot.
yeah, it's easier to get to a 2 pulse because you're crushing it, and they'll tell you that. Yeah.
Oh,
So, yeah.
so that's interesting because I was wondering like how would they correct you and what exactly would they correct?
Well, they hear everything. Unfortunately, they hear it all. It's just like how much time they have to write. Even if you're like, even the higher end pipers, it's amazing. The judges are qualified, to judge you even at the higher levels. They'll find something.
So
There's so much going on.
what is the difference between the highland pipes and the lowland pipes?
I believe, you have power, like I said, it's over 30 types. So I believe there's power pipes, which are different. It's a lower octave than the Great Highland. What's going on with the Great Highland because of the world competitions is the pitch keeps going up and up. So like I have old chanters, they're closer to 440 hertz, concert
yeah.
pitch. Now they're screaming in it in the 480s. Yeah.
Oh my, that's
So traditionalists don't like it because you lose them. See, every time you go up higher in pitch, these drones have to be in tune with the chanter. So you're moving the tuning pins down, which I could probably show you now, right? Should I show you this now? Or?
I think tuning is going up on a lot of instruments. Not
Yeah.
just-
So I mean, so the whole beauty of I think the bagpipe is the lower resolution you hear on
Yeah.
your bass drone interacting with your tenor drones to your chanter. If you go too high, it's you don't hear wah, the wah. The power of the
Yeah.
pipe is the lower octaves.
lower,
Yeah, like
yeah.
low wave. Man, when that's in tune,
Beautiful.
there's nothing like it. It'll just wah. And if you hear wow, 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 that means something's out of tune, right?
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
It's just like picture a trombone, right? So
Yeah.
it's like whoa, 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 right? That's all you need to know about tuning any instrument, really, right? Because the shorter the resonator, right, or the distance,
Yeah,
the higher the
the
pitch.
higher the-
Yeah, so it's no different when you tune these bagpipes on the tuning pins.
Can you show us the pipe?
Yeah, so this here,
Ooh.
this is either bellow driven. So here's my bellow. I obviously didn't put it on. I probably couldn't be talking to you, but when you put these on, I know.
Yeah.
Um,
Oh boy.
You can sing while you're playing, right? So that obviously goes under. Oh, I can figure it out here. So you strap in, goes through here,
Yeah.
and you're pumping air into the bag. Now the
Right.
beauty of that is you can be playing and singing, which is a lot of going on, right?
And
yeah,
that's
all
leather.
That's
Very
pretty
heavy.
heavy duty for a small set.
Very heavy.
Yeah, so like the Illen pipe, which are bellow driven,
Yeah.
these haven't been around that long. I think the Scots wanted their own small pipes, so
Yeah.
they came out with this. I don't know, maybe 50 years ago or so, and this is called the Scottish small pipes.
There's a little joke. It's an Irish joke, and it says the Irish gave the bagpipes to the Scottish many years ago, and they haven't gotten the joke yet.
Yeah, oh, yeah, I hear that, right? They gave the Great Island, right? So you all the choice also is to do mouth blown, like so now I'm going to blow right into the bag here. That's easy if you're just putting them down and picking them up. The beauty of that is with the bellow is you can play them much longer, and you don't the reed isn't suffer with the moisture. Because it's good to have a little moisture in the reed, but mouth driven, something this small, you're really introducing too much moisture to the reed, so the longevity will be shot, so to speak. Because these reeds are probably like $30 each or $35 each now.
Oh.
Yeah,
Yeah, so these things must be expensive. I never thought about
they can get
that.
pricey. This is over 100 years old. These are Henderson's, yeah.
Oh my gosh,
No,
over
yeah.
100 years old.
Yeah, I get too many sets, but I had 20 sets of bagpipes. I went for therapy, and my wife made me go. And I sold sets and all that. So when the dust cleared, I'm down to 12. I haven't bought or sold a set for like probably 3 years now. Yeah. So I'm happy what I got. I just don't want to give them away either.
Oh,
Some of the older set have the elephant ivory on them, and most of them are the wood type. So most of
Maybe
your
there's-
bagpipes now are African blackwood, which is the same wood they use in a lot of clarinets.
The Museum of Fine Arts in New York has a whole display. It's a permanent display of bagpipes from a long, long time ago up to the present.
Wow, I have to go see that. I saw the one in Glasgow. They have a bagpipe museum.
Yeah.
The preferred wood back in the day was either cocos wood or ebony. Cocos wood got very scarce, and ebony got scarce as well, but not as much as cocos wood. The problem with ebony, I think it cracks easily,
Oh.
but it's a wonderful harmonic. They say some say it's better or superior than African blackwood, but you're talking the slightest bit of a difference in harmonics. African blackwood's fine if it's aged properly.
When you talk about blackwood, is that
Yeah.
what they call blackthorn? How they make the shillelagh?
I don't know.
shillelagh
I know it's
out
from
of
Africa.
blackthorn?
It's African blackwood is a name. In Africa, it's like it means tree of song, a singing tree.
Oh.
Because they have made all their flutes back for hundreds of years ago. It's a real hard,
Wow.
oily, dense wood, which
Yeah.
this is, and it's a great harmonic. So and now those are getting scarce because what's going on is you don't have black tree forest, African black tree forest anymore.
Right. We're
You know, it's
losing
just-
all
yeah,
our
They're
trees.
slaughtering everything, and so the few that are left are immature, so they're younger. And if they're standing out in the field, they're growing quicker, and they're young to boot. They're not seasoning the wood correctly. So like you would picture, something that grows quicker has a wider grain structure. Mm-hmm. So you don't have the tight grains you would with the old mature trees had.
So
they used
that's
to fight
true.
for sunlight.
That's true of the bagpipes and also pianos and other musical instruments. Like in pianos, Sitka maple is a soundboard. It
Yeah.
has to come from Sitka, Alaska,
Right.
and so we're losing.
All these natural resources, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you realize the ivory back in the day was just for looks, the projection mounts. These usually ivory obviously being white, and all your new bagpipes are white plastic. So and they had no benefits sound-wise. It's just for looks. It's an ornament, right?
Yeah.
But these are sterling silver.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, they're all engraved. So the silver's nice, but it's just again,
Yeah.
it's just a look, right? You want to fancy up the
beautiful.
bagpipes.
Well,
Yeah.
the look is important too.
Yeah, don't be talking to me. No, I have to do something. I got I got the face of radio here. I need to set a bagpipes. But let me play something quick. These are the so like I said, the lowland upland. So this is a great Highland bagpipes. You got parlor pipes. You got the Spanish pipes is like a Midland pipe or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have the inland pipes we just mentioned, which is the elbow style.
And
then
the
it's
Chinese-
small pipes. What's that?
And the Chinese pipes are doodlesak.
Oh, is it? Yeah, you did the research.
Chinese.
Yeah, and a lot of them only have 2 drones, which is really all you need. Not unusual, but the Great Highland. We're used to seeing the 3 drones because we have 2 tenors. Like these have 3 drones too, but each one's a different octave. I actually corked the middle because there's too much. It's too difficult for me to get them all in tune, and it's yeah. So I just tuned out too. So just so I can make some noise here, right? I don't have the bellows set up. Let me go. Let's see. If I remember how to do it, right? Yeah, I threw this thing on. I think I went like that. See what happened? I
Wow.
overblew just a little bit, and these are real sensitive. They shut down. That can actually happen on the big ones too.
Oh.
So yeah, how you prevent that is when you calibrate reed. So you control how much air is going into the actual drone reeds. Yeah. So that one I just got a little excited. I blew too high.
song in the world.
Yeah, I had a drum.
Danny Boy.
I haven't played for a while, so I didn't calibrate the drum.
It was 1635
Oh yeah.
by a Presbyterian minister,
Oh wow.
and it's so beautiful. And
Yeah, the words are just jaw dropping. They really are.
yeah, the original title I think was A Young Man's Dream, but
Okay.
it's always about going off to war. Like Ireland has Danny Boy, which is the father and the son going off to war,
Right,
and
right.
in the Russian one is Spimladeniec,
Wow.
where the father is saying, "Go to sleep, my child. I'm going off to war, and you may never see me again." They're very sad,
Oh
but they're
God. yeah,
beautiful.
That sounds great, and that's why like Amazing Grace is another one people always want to hear.
Oh yeah, and I have this CD with some beautiful. Morning is Broken, The Mist-Covered Mountains, Duart's Castle, The Water is Wide. Love that. Amazing Grace,
Yeah,
The
I know
Road
most
to
of
the
those, yeah.
Isles, Green Sleeves, Boat Songs, The Meeting of the Waters, Danny Boy, and Going Home. So,
Yeah, I know
Dvorak.
about 80%
This-
of them. Probably I could play them all, but I can do Water's Wide.
Oh,
Right?
that
Can
you
do Love
could
That?
do them. Oh, I love them
All right, all right. Give me- If they kick out again, we just ignore it. We just keep playing.
Oh, that is
Usually I
so
break into a
beautiful.
jig there. I try to.
Well,
That's the setup for a jig. That's
You know
always a
what?
quick one, you know.
yeah, you can do that. But do you know Carrick Fergus?
No.
I think The Water is Wide and Carrick Fergus belong together.
Oh yeah, really? You gotta show me that music.
I
I
will.
like to learn it. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay, we can do a duet.
Okay. yeah,
Well,
yeah,
I
yeah.
can't play those because I would.
Yeah, that's the problem. So
I would keel
I
over
was
it.
at a Halloween party Sunday night in Boston. It was at the Sinclair, which is in Harvard Square.
Yeah.
And the band's name is Neighbor, which I'm thinking they're gonna go viral. I mean, they're phenomenal. They're all out of Berkeley. I was humbled to be there, and I just played like before they came on stage, and then I did this thing in the middle with them just to celebrate the new people showing up to hear the band. But
Oh.
yeah, it was a lot of fun. So you know, there is things you can do with bands and whatnot. I mean, I had to try to bring like the last time I played with them, I brought a 440 concert pitch. So it's a lower pitch reed. And there's only a couple of tunes that you hear in rock and roll, for instance, you know.
Yeah.
One is the Long Way to the Top, an AC/DC tune. So we try to do that. And if you do it right, it's pretty cool. Yeah, but normally it's a standalone or you play in a march setting, you know.
Yeah. But you can do the pipes with.
Yeah, this is obviously a louder instrument.
Yeah, but you can add other instruments. Like on this CD, there's the Highland pipes, fiddle, guitar, Hammond dulcimer, electric bass, guitar, dobro, guitar, piano, cymbals, percussion, cello, trumpet, accordion, vocals, string bass, electric guitar, and Highland start.
Yeah, yeah.
You can really combine with anything. It's beautiful.
Yeah, I love when they do like Strasbay and reels or the jigs, you know, not.
Yeah.
Yeah, my friend Campbell Webster does that, and he goes into the Briar in Boston, and what a fun time that is. And he's just cranking. He's so talented.
So where can people go to hear this stuff?
So everyone thinks about, oh, did you go to the Scottish Games, the New Hampshire Scottish Games up in Loon? I said, well, yes, that's like the last competition for us. But we compete, you know, without this COVID nonsense. We can't call it nonsense. It really put a damper on a lot of this. And but when we're back strong, it's all summer long. It actually starts what they call indoor competitions. It's too cold to play outside yet. That's usually April into May, and then by early summer into mid to late summer, it's all over the place. You can see them on the website. Just type in like Scottish Games, and you'll see they come up. The closest one around here is probably the one that Leslie Webster runs up in Nashua. Usually Nashua High School.
Yeah.
And that's the indoor games. I
Oh.
think it's in April.
Oh, so people could go online or something and find out where
Yeah,
they could go.
Scottish
to.
Games, and there's going to be over 30 or 40.
Wow.
You know, throughout we're part of the Eastern United States Bagpipe Association. So, you know, that's Eastern and is the Central, I think, and is the West. So, yeah, we're pretty active. You know?
Now I have a question. I have a lot of questions, but
Yeah.
this is my question. What would a pulmonologist have to say about your lungs playing that? Is it better for your lungs,
Well,
or
it's
is
like,
it
probably like
bad
opera
for you?
singing.
What?
It strengthens your core. It's more like core. It's not. But then, you know, believe me, that's how I started off. I'd get lightheaded and pass out.
So
it's
you-
more. Oh, it's like oh. It's more of the core.
So your Tai Chi
strength.
teacher would like that because a Jiangtian
Yeah.
is strengthened, so
Yeah,
they would
yeah.
like that.
And then you learn how to play them without, you know, blowing your mind out on because you can regulate your drones. And like some of your top pipers are women. Oh, they
Really?
kick my, you know what, in competition. The thing is, it's so supple. There's some phenomenal.
Yeah,
women
we have
pipers.
good fingers.
All your best pipers are all tall Scotsmen, not even close. Yeah, I could just name. I don't want to embarrass people, but you know, if anyone listens to this, but there's so many great women, even locally. In fact, my teacher, well, I'll say Amy McLaughlin was my original teacher, and she put up with me. I don't know how. And then she sent
was
me off
lucky
to a
to have
Leslie
you.
Webster. Well, she was associated with, you know, with the school, Amy McLaughlin. She married Joe Wright. And then my next teacher was Leslie Webster, who I'm still with. And again, women teachers, women players are phenomenal. Yeah, they're very talented.
Wow.
So anyone can pick up the bagpipes, any size. You don't have to be big and strong. You can
I'll
be,
bet I couldn't do it.
well, you have to
little.
work up to it, you know. I mean,
Right.
even like some people over 80, what they'll do is they'll start corking these, because you know it's a lot of air, right? So if you cork them, of course, would make them prevent them from playing.
Yeah.
Like you know, how I was blowing a little too hard. This little guy, right? The drones, right? The drones kicked out, and just the chanter was going. So it's easier, and that's no different from when you play the big ones. So let's get into this, right? You want to talk
Yeah.
about this? Okay.
Oh, yeah.
So again, it's the same thing, right? It's like all bagpipes. There's a bag.
Yeah.
Here's your blow stick. Let me just take it apart a little bit. Yeah, let me put it up here. What's that? All right, so to make this thing whole work, you got this thing called a blow stick, right? It should come right off, but it's not working. All right, here we go. So this goes back from the very beginning. You listen to this. Right? Ears blowing out. There's
Yeah.
a little baffle in there that closes. And the reason that's important is in between breaths, like when the bag has a higher pressure than what you're blowing in,
Yeah.
that valve will shut itself off. Without that, all the air blows back in your face. So that's how you trap air in the bag, right? In that little blow stick, right? Originally, they were like, you know, leather, obviously, leather. And then now with all the synthetics, all the plastics and all the technology we have, they're rubber now, and they're all stamped perfectly to fit in there. And the other trick is the bore, if you can see that. Originally, they were tighter bore. And, you know, it's like blowing through a straw versus, you know, like a pipe. It's easier to blow, less restriction with a wider bore.
Yeah.
And that helped over the years, you know, make it easier to play these things. So I think the biggest inventions, you know, or improvements, I should say, is your blow stick bore got wider. And of course, the technology of a nice tight air setting so you don't lose it in the air. And of course, plastic on this part because a lot of moisture gets in this. You can't help, you know, blow
Yeah, 'cause
perfectly
you're
dry.
breathing, yeah.
Yeah, and when it was usually all my old blow sticks are African blackwood. They all end up cracking over time. It's sad.
Oh.
Yeah, you're better off just go plastic. You know, these are all these create harmonics, the sound quality. So obviously,
Yeah.
and less moisture gets up into your drone. So yeah, obviously stay wood, African blackwood or ebony, but your blow stick should usually be plastic. So once the ear gets trapped, the other improvement was on the bag itself. So again, the old days were always animal leather, right, or animal bladders. So now this is obviously synthetic, right? It's suede. So it's more,
Can I see?
yeah. It's suede.
Oh, suede, yeah.
Yeah, so you know, you don't have to like season it. The old ones you got to season all the time so they don't leak. The
Is it
trick of
real
opening
suede?
it, huh?
Is it real suede or like ultra suede?
I don't know. It might be synthetic. They're getting away from all your leather because
Yeah.
there's less maintenance.
Yeah.
You know, the other ones like they say the sound quality is actually slightly different in all your different types of bags, harmonic wise. And I had a guy, he's so good, probably your pro levels. They can tell what type of bag you're playing when they hear you playing. It's unbelievable. That's how good their ears are. So they say the best one's a sheepskin. But the problem with sheepskin, you got to constantly play it. You can't let it dry out. So you can't be playing it like once every 2 weeks. You got to just keep playing it, you know, every other day or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, it holds the moisture the best, and the harmonics are nice and rich and vibrant. So that's that. So the bag, you can pull the zipper. You put a water trap in there too to keep even more moisture away from the drone reeds.
Wow.
Yeah. So that really, your enemy is the moisture that builds up in these,
Yeah.
So we have these, and like you mentioned, so you get your blow stick. This is obviously the chanter. I should probably talk about that first, right? I'm
Oh
sorry.
yeah, the chanter is
I
important.
was, yeah, I want to skip the most important part, right? So this
Yeah.
is the melody, right?
That's what makes the music. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like a double oboe reed, look-wise.
Uh huh.
Like very carefully take it out because I don't want to break it. There is there.
Wow.
Yeah, that's a ridge cut. Some are like,
So you have to buy and cut your own reeds. To
well,
fit-
you buy these.
Oh, and
There's
then
all different
pre-cut,
types.
so you
Yeah,
don't have to
pre-cut.
keep working.
Different
on-
strengths too.
Oh, yeah.
Strong, medium, soft. So I haven't bought soft for years because it just you go through them so quick. This was like most of my reeds are medium, and then just like the practice chanter, now you go. And here's your 9 notes. That's loud, right?
That is loud.
So this is actually a sterling silver soul. They say it affects the harmonics a little bit, but I don't know. This is a nail chanter. It's probably my favorite chanter. And
Beautiful.
it'd look pretty on TV.
I think that's what I heard you playing when I thought the pipes are calling, and I saw you.
Yeah.
That was
So
beautiful.
you look carefully at the hole. So believe it or not, there's 3 aspects of the bagpipes. One is the actual playing, right? Playing, and that's of course practicing, getting the embellishment down, the timing, and all that. Very important. I mean, you either can play them, or you can't play them. There's always room for improvement. But there is 2 other elements that are just as important. Some say even more. One is the tuning end. So tuning the chanter to the drones, which includes the calibration of the drones, so you're not overblowing. There's a whole series of steps there on the tuning end. And then the third one is bagpipe maintenance. Maintaining it. Like the hemp's got to be all tight. Like if these are on too loose, you'll lose air here or there.
Oh yeah, that.
So hemp, yeah.
Yeah.
The cords, make sure they're all wrapped correctly so they're not falling off. And then, back in the day, it was the seasoning of the bag. So that's the bagpipe maintenance end of it. Because, you could be the best pipe in the world. If you're losing air through, say, one of your tenors,
Yeah.
then, you're only going to be able to play for a couple of seconds or a couple of minutes, and you're going to be out of gas, So it has to be an efficient bagpipe. It has to be in tune. And then the third element, again, is the playing of it. The tuning on the chanter is very interesting. It's hard to see this. This is black electrical tape.
Oh yeah.
So they're actually putting tape over the holes, not only in the top end. Now, when you put tape over a hole, you're driving the pitch down a little bit, right? So that's what you're doing there. Obviously, because when I'm covering all the holes, most of your sound is going all the way through the chanter. So you're playing like a low G. And then the high A, right, is you're opening all your holes in the top, even though you keep the 3 down. That's a high one.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, high note. So if you're playing like a scale and it sounds off, usually it's a high hand. So if you're going like, this is a D to an E. Hear that? That's a little high. So what I would do there is take the tape. It's hard to see, it's almost impossible to see it even when I'm holding it. And you put the tape down a little bit lower over that top hole.
Yeah.
And you might be able to hear it, the difference. First, if I overdid it, make it flat, right? You're like, ooh, that doesn't sound right. This shouldn't sound right. It's a little bit raspy.
Yeah.
Very slight difference.
Yeah. The
in
tone.
subtleness.
The timbre of the tone.
Yeah. And of course, sometimes, like in the hot summer, you're playing away and the tape will slip over the hole totally. So you'll hear, you won't hear the, you don't even hear the note, It's
Yeah.
crazy, yeah. So that's how you tune the chanter.
Wow.
So low A is, you cover it, this is low G. So low A is this. And I'm showing you that, but that's the introduction to, you want to see where your pipes are at low A.
Oh yeah.
A, C, and I think E are the big notes. I call them big notes.
Yeah.
You
It's
try
like
to
when you
tune to
tune
that.
your guitar, you have to start at the bottom.
Yeah, right. So at a minimum, it should be tuned to low A. So right here. well, yeah, that's low A on the drones to that. So say, see, this would sound too high. See it?
Yeah.
So the tuning pin. See how I just made this thing a little shorter by tuning it down.
Yeah.
You'll hear the wah 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 at low A. Hopefully. No, you will. You will.
Oh yeah.
Now it sounds good, right?
Yeah.
Now it's in tune to your outside tenor. So yeah, that's an example of that. Now, if you notice on the big bass, there's two tuning pins. You normally leave the top one alone.
Yeah.
Because if you start tuning this down and up, up, down, down, you go out of your mind. So everyone tunes from the bottom. And normally, so you avoid double toning, it's called. On the lower tuning pin, you want to be 2 fingers or less. Maybe 2.5 max. If this is up too high, sometimes it'll double tone. So if this is in tune, I'll play something. What should I
So
play?
do you have to tune every time you play, before you play every time? or-
Yeah, so what happens with that is usually your tenors, you break this apart, and I have been more recently taking these out of the stocks. Let me show you that quickly. So your tuning pin shouldn't change from the last time you played it. So here's your drone reed for the tenor. And it come a long way. Back in the day, they were just pieces of bamboo.
Yeah.
You know, cane, and they used to cut a slit. I should have brought a couple in, but there's so many things I got at home. And they're so crude because they're very affected by moisture and temperature, right? More so than these. And then that little slit over time opens and closes and everything else, you know, depending on how many times you play it and all that. It was all over the map. If you have a whole bagpipe band, like doing competition, which I know the Stuart Allens have tried it in the past, using all cane reeds, it's a nightmare. You could spend hours trying to tune them.
Wow.
You know, you want to be in tune, you want to warm up and be ready to go, you know.
Yeah.
So here's what it sounds like, you know, it was in the bag, a solo would go. Now the calibrate, you overblow and it should shut down. I'll go, it will shut down.
Oh,
It shut down, right?
Yeah.
So you kind of like play around with that concept of overblowing. You try to emulate how much pressure you use when you're playing. You know, you're playing a tune.
yeah.
In other words, you don't want to be so sensitive that it's shutting down all the time, like I just did with my small pipe. And you definitely don't want it open because you'll be losing all that air.
Yeah.
You'll be, you know, if it won't shut down at all, you'll see after a couple of minutes of playing, you're getting tired and you're thinking you must be getting out of shape or old, but it's the instrument. It's not being
not,
efficient.
yeah,
It's efficiency, yeah.
Yeah.
So it's all about being air efficient.
So marching in a band, you have to breathe and walk, and
Yeah.
that must be very difficult.
Yeah, I'm still not a great. I've only been playing 8 years, so I mean I wouldn't say parades are new to me, but I still kind of like okay, you know, left, right. Was each tune's a little bit different. Like the 4/4s is, you know, there's 4 beats per bar, right? So
Yeah.
you still have a strong left foot. So boom, like Scott LeBray. Beep,
Left,
beep,
right,
beep,
left,
beep,
right,
beep,
left,
beep,
right,
beep, 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 beep. But like a 6/8, like a Bonnie Dundee. Beep, 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 beep. There's two beats per bar, 6/8, right?
Yeah.
Compound time. Beep, 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 beep. So strong left foot. The dotted eights, it's crazy. You learn the music, but you don't play it the way it's written. You don't play beep, 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 beep. That's like probably the way it's written, the way it should be played. But the Scots, right, the bagpipes want to emphasize that dotted eight. So it's beep, 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 beep. You really, believe me, I'm still, I get so much trouble in bands. I'm not overemphasizing the dotted eights long enough. It's like
Well,
I'm
it's-
overplaying. I'm like, no, that's perfect. I'm like, yeah, you got to be careful. If you could go too long, you're going to be off a beat, right? So
Yeah,
you still got to
right.
stay on the beat, and you can emphasize your dotted eights longer or your quarter. You almost play the dotted eight like a quarter note. Yeah, it's crazy. And it's triplets. Beep,
Yeah.
beep, beep. It's long, short, and then kind of medium. Beep, 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 beep. Or you know, there's all these different types of.
Yeah, I
music.
know. I have to teach rhythm to my
Yeah,
students,
yeah,
and
yeah.
but the way we do it is by, like we say, strawberry shortcake,
That works. Yeah.
pepperoni pizza.
Yeah, words
Chocolate.
help. Yeah. There's so many
So,
ways to teach. It's crazy.
Yeah, rhythm.
It helps, it helps.
So important.
The kids learn so fast. Oh my God.
Well, I have one question. How do you store all this stuff that you have? Do you keep it in your house? Do you?
Yeah, I try to have most of them in their own bagpipe cases. So the enemy really is heat and dryness. So I mean, they like a 50% humidity and like 60, 70, whatever. So yeah, we have forced hot air, so I'm worried about that. And the
So a
room stays
humidifier.
cool. Yeah, the room stays cool. So you can put the little sponges in there. You have little dehumidifiers I have that regulate that. I mean, but usually just a sponge once a week. I'll check it, make sure it's moist.
Yeah.
So zipped in the bag and I put plastic over it. One time I actually made like a little tent for them all. I had them all laid out on a beautiful table. When I first started playing, and I had a humidifier going all the time. It was constantly like fog coming out of this little tent, but it was too much. And then mold was growing on the wood. I'm like, what am I doing? So
That's why your wife sent you to the therapist.
yeah. She wasn't happy with that. So I had to break the tent down. So now the answer is to put them in their own little pipe bag and just maybe check a sponge once a week. Only during the winter months if you have forced hot air.
Yeah.
The summer they're fine. Just keep them out of the heat.
Yeah.
Just treat them like your favorite dog. Like don't leave them in a hot car, right? Yeah.
Right.
This wood, and they're very sensitive. They expand and contract. I mean, just playing them, like say in this setting here versus say outside, it's like night and day.
Yeah.
The cool air. In fact, the reed will actually close up with the cold air. And then of course with heat, the pitch goes higher.
Yeah.
Yeah, like sometimes we play in the summer, we're at like 485 pitch wise. It's like screaming, and all the bands are pretty much the same pitch. So, but then you hit so many little things. Like if we're playing out in an open field in the sun, we should be tuning in the sun.
Oh,
it's
you have to
crazy.
tune
Like
where you're gonna
you
play
tune in
it.
the shade and you play in the sun. The pipes are going to heat up, and then obviously with the heat, not just the pitch, but the drones will shut down. Like one of my guys, with better piper than I am, his drones shut down, and that's called a striking. So usually it's on the 7 beat. It's like on your right, quick march. So and it's like retrying this instead of picking these up. So it's like on your right. Oh, I did the left foot. On your right, quick march. So on the left foot, 1, 2, 3, 4. Now 5. You strike in. B, and on 6, you're ready. So on 7, 2 BD. So it's a lot of mechanics going on. You've got to have a nice clean strike, and if you don't, you sometimes. So we're right into the tune. We're into like the 3rd or 4th bar, and he's still trying to get the pipe to go, and the judges are all writing it down, bad striking, and that will cost you 1st, 2nd, 3rd place right there. And at the end too, dee 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 dee. They don't want to hear anything. No trailing drone, they call it, right?
Yeah.
So at our level, the most important, besides playing half decent music, but what will crush you every time is if you don't have a clean strike in and a clean cutoff. Yeah, I can show you them, the big ones. Yeah, I'm bouncing around, but whoop. Yeah, that's my big heavy chanter. See, that's the thing with the sterling silver; it's heavy. Be tough on these. These aren't my band set. So a clean strike would be like that, on your right quick march on the 5th beat, Well, that's trying to do a clean cutoff. So sometimes it's like, say the tune's over, I'll try to, it's easier for me to make a
Runs
mistake.
over a bit.
Yeah, you hear.
Yeah.
program. Yeah, no good. And boom, they went right off the beat.
It has to end
Yeah,
when
yeah.
it
And it
ends.
sounds cool, but now you picture like 6, 7, 8 pipers doing that.
Yeah.
Beep, 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 beep.
Yeah, it has
Wow,
to end
it's
when
powerful.
It ends.
Yeah, it's powerful to start clean and stop clean. So it's called a strike in and a cut off. So that's part of the competition of the band. Now in solo, they don't care how you end. You know, you can just
Yeah.
keep. But they're
Because
playing.
that's
Yeah.
more artistry.
Well, no, but they're listening for everything in between. It's
Oh.
nice to have a clean cutoff. They don't care if you, or, if you have a trailing drone.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's interesting. But yeah,
Well, we certainly covered a lot of ground here
yeah.
for a long time, so I think we're kind of at the end of our interview.
Very good. Yeah,
Sad to
it's my
say,
pleasure.
because it's been a lot of fun.
Yeah, I love doing this. It's very good. I mean,
I can tell.
I really want to encourage kids to play the bagpipe.
Yes.
It's really something that's
Good
so
music.
much fun. It's great.
Good
Great.
music,
the
not bad
the
music.
heritage and the tradition of all through Scotland and even Ireland. Because
Well,
around
all
here's a
over
lot
the
of Irish.
world.
What's
I
that?
mean, this is all over the world.
Yeah, it's wonderful.
Even in Italy, Zampagna, they have
Yeah.
their own type of
Everywhere in the world, yeah.
bagpipes. So
Pakistani,
they're
Pakistan
everywhere.
too.
Everywhere.
All right. And
Okay.
you never leave. You don't need you don't need to be plugged in. You know.
Yeah.
And St. Patty's is always a treat. We do the bar hopping and everything, and it's so much fun. Just come in blasting, you know. And
Yeah.
and it's never ending. It's humbling because you'll never master it. It's like the other Scottish pastime, right? Golf.
Yeah.
You'll never master the I know I won't.
Beethoven
Right,
will never
right, yeah,
master
yeah.
that.
Very
It's-
good.
It's written better than it can be played.
Yeah.
But we keep trying.
I know, right? That's right. Well, you're
Well,
the Pibroch too, yeah.
Well, thank you so much for coming
Oh,
today.
my
It was
pleasure,
a
yeah.
lot of fun. I learned a lot, and I
Well,
hope,
I hope I
everyone
answered
did.
half of them correctly.
because this is the second instrument that was ever invented by human beings, and it's still going strong, and I hope it does.
I do
And
too,
thanks to you and people like you that keep all this beautiful stuff going.
Oh, I love it, yeah.
And thank you for watching Music Matters. This is Jack Shattuck and Terry Kelly saying goodbye for now.